Hello and welcome to the Eradication Show. My name is Freeman Singirankabo and thank you so very much for joining our program today. Those of you joining us live, especially if you're joining us live from the social media like Facebook and YouTube and the likes, welcome. We are so glad and so thrilled that you can find some time out of your busy schedule and join us today. That goes for those of you as well. Joining us live from a television and radio station. We are so glad, guys, that you can really find some time out of your busy schedule and come and join our conversation today. We have our Zoom open for, especially for those of you joining us live from the televisions and radio station, in case you want to tune in or come and have a saying in the conversation today. We would love to have you guys. Same with you guys who are on social media. Whichever platform that you are on, we can actually interact with you guys in real time as it happens. And with that in mind, I want to let you guys know that we are super excited to have you today. And the conversation and the program that we get to share with you guys, it is a program that we get to share with you at the same time, and we don't sugarcoat. We are literally frank with you in everything that we discuss here. We speak boldly and we speak with no apologies, because everything we get to share with you, everything we discuss with you, these are the issues most pressing, and these are the issues that we really care about in each and every one of our lives. So you can expect that everything we share here, it is all in the spirit of truth, love, and trust. And these are the benchmarks by which we would love each and every one of you guys to use or to measure both the integrity and the validity of the contents that we share with you, because we are so sure those are the lines that we like to follow, and those are the lines that we adhere to. Check it out yourself to make sure that we actually are indeed going through those lines or adhering to those policies that we have set for ourselves. And with that in mind, guys, I also want to let you know that we welcome all of your feedbacks. Why? Because we want to make sure that what we discuss openly, it's helpful to you. It's adding some sort of value to your lives. Be it positive or negative, we would love so very much to hear from you guys. And with that in mind, I want to give you guys a huge invitation to come to our website, afridominion.com or www.afridominion.com, and leave us some feedbacks. And while you're at it, you may also choose to shoot us an email. And our email you may use, it's info@afridominion.com. info@afridominion.com. We also have a telephone that you can call in. You can call in via our regular social media telephone line, or you can use the main line. All that information, it's absolutely there. We do not hide. Everything is up in the open. You can also find our social media handlers, whichever platforms that you're looking for. We have quite the most popular platforms. We are there because we want to make sure that there is none of you who may have an excuse saying that you do not know how to get in touch with us and so on. But above all, we also want to give you that huge welcome to come and actually give us a hand. This is not an easy task. This is not an easy road to travel. And there's no better experience than when you're traveling together with the people who are actually sharing the same, the same destination with you, same like minds, and so on. And it is with that reason also, before I forget, that I would love to give you guys a huge welcome to our social media group. We have an interactive group. It's a private group that it's on Telegram. We want to have an opportunity to share with you guys what we are up to, especially behind the scenes, or some of the activities that we are involved in, of which you may not necessarily see on cable, on television, on a radio station, or on these social medias. Most of the hard work, most of the work that we do, it's actually behind the scene, and we would love to we would love to share that with you. We would love to get your hands and your help in everything in that nature. And we will gladly say yes, and we will gladly give you a huge welcome with open arms. And with that in mind, guys, I also want to take this opportunity to begin our show, to begin talking about briefly about what Afridominion is, for those of you guys who have no idea what it is, but also what Afri-Dominion show is. This is a brand new show that we just started this past January, but it's an old concept. It's a brand new show on air, but an old concept. We have had this idea, this concept for a number of years, in fact, but we just didn't have the opportunity. We didn't have the means or the resources to actually put it together so that it can come out from being an idea to something actually we can we can actually bring to life, where you can see some value, some fruits out of it. So what is Afri-Dominion? Afri-Dominion, it's an idea that inspires, advocates, help, and even goes as further as encouraging each and every one of your sons and daughters, kings and queens all over Africa, to take back, to dominate, to take dominion of Africa, its resources, in your rightful place. We want you guys to take the whole entire dominion of Africa, one country at a time, all in the interest of our own people directly, meaning Africans primarily, and then the rest of the world afterwards. So that's the idea that we stand for as far as Afri-Dominion. Now, the Afri-Dominion show, it is a show that actually becomes, or that gets to play a mouthpiece of the idea. Here on our show, you can expect that the conversation, the programming that we get to have, it has to be a program that inspires. It has to be programs that advocate. And this program also should be able to encourage and help each and every one of you to take back or to have a complete dominion of Africa and African resources, one nation at a time. One nation at a time. And we're talking about you, sons and daughters, you, African descendants. It is for you to do. This is your inheritance. You have to be able to take it and to seize it with no apologies to nobody at all. And we make sure that all our people get to benefit from the fruits that are yielded from the hard work. But we also do this up in the open with full transparency, because we believe that everything that we do in full light has far more benefit than the things that we do behind the scene or right underneath of the rags. If you do things up in the light, it is very difficult for people to actually suspect that you're doing something wrong, because they can actually scrutinize themselves. They can check you out themselves. And we believe in doing things all up in the open. And we invite you guys to literally scrutinize us. We never hide. We do everything in the open, be it in front of these cameras or even behind the scenes. Everything we do, it's 100% open. And I invite each and every one of you guys to come and take a bite. Take a bite and see what we are up to. And we are so thrilled and we are so glad to let you know that so far, so good. And we've taken that upon ourselves to actually take 5 different days and present to you with different themes. Because we have so many ideas, so many amazing, great ideas, but we also want to be able to consolidate all our programs through these various themes. So we do our broadcast Monday through Friday between 12 to 1:30 Eastern Standard Time, or Washington, D.C. time, for those of you guys who aren't familiar with our time zones. So Eastern Standard Time, it is Washington, D.C., New York, down in Florida, Miami, etc. A lot of these nations or states on far east, on the East Coast. So we use Eastern Standard Time as our time zone. So if you want to catch us live, you got to be able to catch us live from that time frame. If you do not catch us live, we are going to be on demand and certainly on social media. Now, what do we get to present to you? What do we get to do? What do we get to share with you? Be it on air or offline. So on Mondays, we have, from Monday to Friday, we have different themes, like I say. And on a Monday, we get to talk about ideas that relates to eradication of African refugees and African stateless persons. Most of you've seen refugees, especially as recent as what we are witnessing in Ukraine. Those issues are not by accident. The refugee situation is not an accident, is not an accidental issue. It's something that's well coordinated and well planned. It is a consequence of another action plan that's been taken by different stakeholders. So we want to be able to study, we want to be able to investigate, to see how can we eradicate a refugee problem amongst our brothers and sisters, as well as those who are stateless persons. So on Monday, feel free, come and join the conversation and bring your ideas as well, so we can be able to see what we can be able to do for our own people. And then if it works for our people, we can also get to share it with the rest of the world. On Tuesdays, we talk about the Constitution, law and policy review and implementation. These words sound so yummy, but do not allow them to intimidate you guys. They all have one thing in common. One thing in common. Standard instructions. Laws. A set of instructions that's adhered to everybody. One, it's on a national level. Another one, it's on regional level. And then the very last one, it's on an organization basis, a family basis, a much smaller region, a much smaller group of people. So these are all laws, but on a different level. These are all set of instructions on different levels. And we use these instructions as a means of guidelines. So do not be afraid when it comes to fancy words that some of these smart people may be using against you, and you think like, wow, this is so out of my league. No, do not be intimidated by that. So come on a Wednesday, on Tuesdays, let's share. Whichever category you find yourself in, make sure that you actually become open. Be open to these laws. Be open to the Constitution and these policies, because they govern a whole lot of things that we do each and every one of the days. On Wednesdays, it's our testimony times, our history telling and writing. I love Wednesdays because on Wednesdays, you get to speak from your heart. You get to share your experience, and you get to listen to others sharing their own experiences. I keep on saying this, and I will never stop saying it. Africa has such a very, very rich history. A very, very rich history. However, our history has been purposely buried. Most of you do not know who you are. Most of you. You have no history whatsoever. You may have borrowed somebody else's history. You may be ashamed of your history. You may be overwhelmed when it comes to digging, discovering your own history. And you may actually not know where to start rewriting your own history, or bring it back to life. So on Wednesdays, we actually get to team up with a bunch of our own brothers and sisters, and we get together to help each and every one of you to write your own history, to narrate yourself, to make a mark on planet Earth before you depart. That's why I love it. And we talk about you becoming the driver of your own life, of your own experience, and you get to share it with our brothers and sisters, even the whole the world, for centuries to come, for millennia to come. That's what we are about on Wednesdays, preserving our own history, sharing our own history, teaching our own history to our own people, fighting against ignorance, uprooting ignorance amongst ourselves, because we have so much ignorance. But I believe Ignorance is a choice. It's not a genetic disease. So you choose a lifestyle. You choose a life that you want to lead. And whatever that life is, it actually shows in your lifestyle, in what you do every single day. So choose you wisely, how you want to live your life. As an individual, as a family, as a community, even as nations. It's really imperative and it's very important. On Thursdays, we get to talk about the spirit of dominion. I love this word, dominion. This word is original. What is dominion? Why the spirit of dominion? We get to explore that on Thursdays. But when you dominate, you become yourself. You govern. You manage. You protect. You make better. You make better the resources around you. And when we keep on saying, take dominion of your own homeland, take dominion of your own resources, we are literally telling you, be in charge of yourselves. Be in charge of your territory. Be in charge of your resources. As yourself, as a family, as a community, as a village, even as your nation. Do not let foreigners, do not let other people from faraway places, outsiders, come in and take charge of your own lives. Turn you into slaves. Bring slavery in your free land. You have to say no. There is a price. There is a price. There is a price for being a dominant, for being a king and a queen. You have to be willing to pay that price before you become. So that's why on Thursdays, it's another one of those crucial days that we'd love to be here, because what we share, it's usually deep and it talks about you, the original you, not the copycat you, the original you. On Fridays, we get to talk about the current events and its impact to Africa and African people. There is so much going on, guys, on this world. You have to be able to filter what's beneficial to you and what's not beneficial. If you find something that's not beneficial, do not spend your time on it. Move on to another thing. Choose you wisely. What you want to go after, what you want to spend your energy on. It's that important, guys. It's that important. And that's what we got going on our program from Monday all the way to Fridays. And I just want to give you guys a huge welcome. All of you who have been following, who have been supporting us, and who have been actually sending us some feedbacks, how we can improve the programs, how we can make them better, and how we can make them even more effective. With love getting your feedbacks. So by all means, welcome. Our Zoom is open. Those of you who are on social media, you should be able to find the link right underneath by the descriptions. If you're on a radio station, if you're listening to us via radio or television, you have to get on a computer or your phone to come and join our conversation live as it happens. All right. So with that in mind, today we are Wednesday, and we got something going on today. It's our testimony time, but today's testimony is gonna be a little eccentric. It's gonna be great, but a little bit of eccentric. What are we talking about today? So today our topic goes like, who am I? A hand that gives or takes? That's the main topic. And with that, I want to break it down and get to ask you, do you really have a tree growing money in your backyard? I told you it's going to be tricky. I also want to know when will you have the courage to tell the truth to your people on the reality of the kind of life you live outside of your hometown, abroad, in these other nations that you have found yourselves in? Do you pretend to be something you're not to your own people at home, but then you're something else in these lands? Or you are actually one, be it with your own people or the people here, right where you reside? That is a question that's really important to a whole lot of you. And I hope that you can actually be truthful to yourselves, because it's imperative. Last but not least, I always love to ask, what is your role in all of this? That question, it's a question that we ask every single one of the programs that we have. Why it's that important? Because we don't want to fake it. We don't want to just talk for the sake of talking. If it's not helpful, you got to be able to say, hey, listen, you know what? It's great and everything, but we didn't get anything out of this program. You may consider tweaking it so that it can be very helpful to the rest of us. So, with that in mind, who am I? A hand that gives or takes. Since this is a testimony, it's a bit of a challenge to tell you who I am. So my parents, they named me Singirankabo, and then they named me Bikorwa, and then they named me Freeman. Why am I starting like that? My names are so vivid. They are very descriptive. Of course, Freeman, a free man. Those of you who speak English, you can literally pick it. But when we say things like Bikorwa, how would I even translate that, Bikorwa? It's like one who actually takes action. Like your actions speaks for themselves. They speak louder than just word. And then Singirankabo. It's like I'm different. So if I translate it literally, it will go something like, I don't do like you do. Like whatever it is that you do, I don't have to copy you. I'm unique in my own right. Everything that I am, everything that I do, it's uniquely for me. And actually, that's who you are too. If you embrace you, the whole entire you, you'll realize that there's nothing alike from the rest of the world, the rest of the people who lives nearby you or who are sharing the space with you. Each and every one of us is unique. Each and every one of us is unique. Hence, Singirankabo. You are also Singirankabo. That's who you truly are. But now the question becomes, do you actually live your life like a Singirankabo, like a Bikorwa? Do you actually live your life as unique as you have been created? Or do you just tag along, copying everything that you find on your way? Hidden within you are the most amazing gifts that the Creator has given each and every one of us, has given you. But oftentimes, we are not sure what's inside of us because we barely take the time to self-discover. So one of the things that I have learned ever since I became a little bit of bigger, a bit of a young man, I have learned to, I have literally learned to look within me to get to find out who am I as a person. Because I realize it is so difficult to be someone else that isn't you. You spend more energy being someone else than you spend when you are actually you in your own right. And you can imagine, as a younger person, there is so much struggle, peer pressure, your neighborhood, your surroundings. Oftentimes you give in to the environment around you. And if you don't have such a high self-esteem, a high confidence, you may actually become a victim of your environment. You may become a victim of what the society in your proximity has created. And you may become a victim of a missing identity or a lost identity. Because when you subscribe to everything around you, you never get an opportunity to find you, to learn who you are as a person. You just don't have the time for it. Or your surroundings might tell you, no, we don't want you to be that. That is not who you are. And then they can actually define you or what they want you to become. So I had to learn how to actually be me. Even today, sometimes it's a struggle. There's so much things around us that's competing for our attention. That's competing for for our everything we are from within. And it's very important that you do not give in for all this stuff that's competing for your attention. Some of which are much more difficult to resist. But that's why we gotta grow up. That's why we have to grow up. And that's what has brought up the conversation of today. Are you a hand that gives or that takes? And don't be so quick to answer. Because I'm only asking that you be honest with yourself. You do not have to impress me. You do not have to impress your surroundings or those of you that you may be watching the show with. Just look from within you and see if there are any signs that show that you are a hand that gives or a hand that takes. Literally. Do you help people? Do you give to people? Or you're more likely a hoarder, one who actually like to keep stuff. You keep stuff and you ask and you beg. Which one are you? And now it gets even more tricky or complicated when you are far away from your homeland. At home, you can actually take and take and take and take because you are surrounded by people who love you. Even those who do not love you, they might give you something because they like, okay, here you go, leave me alone. But do you have a spirit that gives or that has a tendency to just take and beg and beg and beg and beg? Why am I asking this question? Why am I asking? Why am I asking this question? It literally brings me to the next question before we can even make an attempt to answer it. So, when we arrived here in the United States, life changed immediately. Away from loved ones, away from familiar faces, away from an environment that we were accustomed to, that we have mastered, to everything brand new. Everything brand new. So you can imagine the challenge. So one of the things that I've realized since I was a kid, even up until this moment, there is a disinformation. There's disinformation amongst our families, especially our brothers and sisters. And the disinformation is when you come to America. So first and foremost, I thought America was one country. Because at home they say, hey, America, you're going to America. So most of them, they do not know that there is the United States of America, there is Canada, there is South America, a bunch of nations there. Mexico, Chile, Venezuela, etc. They don't know none of that. They just know America, the majority of them. So when someone hears that you're going to America, there is automatically a new way that they actually get to see you. First and foremost, they see bling bling. They see an ATM. They see now a money generating person. Because now that you go into America, you are rich, you are wealthy, you got everything. So now, as soon as you arrive, they immediately say, give me some money. So which is why I get to ask, do you really have a tree growing money in your backyard? Because even you, you actually get to really impress them. Someone might ask you some money and you actually can provide, you can give. Why? Because the living quality, the lifestyle here is so much more higher than the one at home. When it comes to money exchange, you find out, for example, that $1, it's almost like 1,000 francs of Rwandan money, local money. And over there, 1,000 francs, it's a lot of money. Now imagine you got $10. We're talking about 10,000 francs. A teacher in Rwanda gets paid somewhere between $30 and $50 a month, okay? A month. So imagine you, especially those of you in Europe, those of you here in the Northern America and South America. Literally, if you are in any of the continents except Africa, what can you do with $50 in a month's time? You'll be dead. $50. It's a lot of money in Rwanda. Because a teacher, there are a lot of professions who cannot have $50 in a month's time. So now imagine you go to work here in America, minimum wage. Let's not even talk about professional workers. So here in the United States, specifically here in Washington, D.C., Maryland, and Virginia, the minimum wage, if I'm not mistaken, it's $11, I think, per hour. The minimum wage, I believe. And I think soon it's going to be $15 an hour, if it's not already in some states. So now imagine, just for the sake of an argument, let's say that the minimum hour, the minimum rate, it's just $10 an hour. And our brothers and sisters, when you arrive in the United States, in Europe, man, you work like a horse. You can get 2 jobs, 3 jobs, 4 jobs in 24 hours. So now if you're getting paid $10 an hour and you say, okay, today I'm going to go and work double. Working double, it means you are going to work 16 hours. Okay? So you've already calculated it in your head. So if I'm getting paid $10 an hour, by the end of the day, I will be collecting $160. They're probably going to remove some taxes. So there's a pretty good chance that you may be able to take home, let's say, $120. Okay? You give Uncle Sam $40 and you keep $120 in a day's worth. Okay? We're talking about minimum wage. So now, in one day, you not only get paid more than a teacher in Rwanda, you can actually afford to pay 2 teachers and you are left with $20. Follow me carefully. And you've been hustling, okay? So now, there's another thing. Anytime you're working more than 8 hours, here, you get paid a half extra, meaning you get whatever it is that you were getting paid plus a half. So if you are getting paid $10, they will pay you for the rest of those 8 hours $15 an hour. Now take 15 times 8. How much money do you get? About $90, right? So you have $80 plus the $90. So your money is getting, you're getting more money. Okay? So now, if that's the case now, when you start doing the math like that, actually I'm lying. I just lied to you guys. $15 times 8, it's not $90. Good Lord have mercy. So it's what, $120, right? So now imagine you're getting paid 120 plus 80, that's $200, okay? With that $200, Uncle Sam takes 40 bucks. Let's say that he takes 50 bucks. So 30%, that's what mostly they will take from you guys. 20% of $200 is how much? Man, today I'm doing a whole lot of math, my goodness. So it's about, they actually take about 60 bucks, okay? So you're giving Uncle Sam 60 bucks and you're taking home 100, 140. Sometimes you may take home a little bit more if your deductions are not much, okay? So why am I saying this, guys? Let's say that now you have decided that you want to work like a horse 7 days a week. You're taking home 150 bucks every single day for the sake of an argument, okay? How much money do you have in a week? If you have decided that you are going to work from Monday through Sunday without taking a break, and you're just going to be like a horse, and you're collecting $150 every single day after they have removed your taxes, do you know how much money you're taking home in that week? You have at least $1,000, about $1,050. So now, if that's how much money you have in 1 week after tax, now in a month's time you have about $4,000, right? So $4,000. Now let's multiply $4,000 by 1,000. Now you have almost close to 400,000 francs. Now it is very few people who get paid that kind of money. Hear me right, because there is a method to the madness. There's a reason why I'm spending the time saying all of this. So now you left your homeland. You didn't have a skill set. You didn't have anything going on except that someone paid you. They paid a ticket for you to come over. And then you just didn't have any skill set. And as soon as you arrive here, you are given permission to work. And then you land on anything you can land on. You're given the basic job, the very basic job. And then you start doing the math and you're like, with $4,000 a month, I can actually do something. And if you really, really, really are one of those kind of people who are going to save, and then you're not going to live an extravagant life. You're not going to be wasteful. If you want to save money, then you're going to go and find, maybe have a roommate. Spend less. Out of the $4,000 a month, maybe you can budget, you save $2,000 maximum. Meaning your living arrangements and food. Try to keep it under 2,000. Now, people are like, man, 2,000, that's a lot of money in francs. But that money is nothing in the United States. It's nothing, to be honest with you. It is absolutely nothing. But it's something for somebody else, though. So let me not say that it's nothing. Meaning, life is expensive here. That $4,000, you spend it like this. I give you an easy example, a very easy example. If you are those kind of people who cannot cook, who don't want to cook from your own place, be it an apartment, a house, whatever, the arrangement that you have, and you decide to eat out. If you're going to eat junk food or fast food, okay, let me call it fast food. That's what it's called, fast food. Not a decent restaurant. If you're targeting fast food, okay, fast food place, and you are going to actually eat the very basic, you are going to spend about $10 per meal. If you're just getting the basics, okay? Now let's say that you don't want the basic, you want an average meal, $15. So you're spending $15 in the morning for breakfast. You're spending $15 lunchtime, and you're spending $15 in the evening for your dinner. So we're already talking about $45, okay? So for the sake of rounding numbers, let's say $50, you're spending it on food. Now take $50 and multiply by 30. What do you get? Do the math, guys. Do the math. I know you guys are super smart. Take $50 and multiply by 30. And tell me what you get. $50 multiply by 30. Because if you're spending $50 minimum and you multiply by 30, you realize that you're spending a whole lot of money. A whole lot of money. On food alone, you're spending about $1,500 a month if you do not cook. So remember, you had $4,000. Okay? The food alone, it's $1,500. The food alone, it's $1,500. More than 1/4. More than 1/4. Food alone. Pay attention, guys. Next, let's say that you have a roommate and you really like very conservative. You get a place for, let's say, $1,500. Okay? And that is not an extra, one of those mighty places for $1,500. Okay, and then you say, okay, let me split it with a roommate. Remember, you are in the city. Like a studio. A studio is what? It's like one room kind of place. One room. That's your whole entire place. Meaning, within that one room, you have a living room, you have a kitchen, you have a bedroom. If you guys look how the Japanese and the Chinese people have really this modern expanding house, they know how to be very conservative with space. So they've got like a bed on the wall. When you're not sleeping, you sort of like pull up your bed so you can save the room. And as soon as you pull up the bed and then you bring down the table, I mean, they've got amazing bed, like one unit, a bed that has a table in it and that has chairs in it. So which means in that little space that you're sleeping in, as soon as you wake up, you roll up your bed and you bring down the table. Same space. And then you can manage with that space. Asians, they are so accustomed to just managing a very little teeny space. So now imagine that's how you're living. You and your roommate, you're sharing a studio room. So which means for $1,500, you split. You get to pay $750. He or she gets to pay $750. Okay? So remember, food is $1,500. Your rent, it's $750. Together, it becomes $2,250 now. Okay? Now you're still okay to a certain degree. Now we talk about transportation. You gotta go to work. If you live a little bit far, even when you live in the city. So you've got these Ubers, you've got these Lyfts, you got like ride-share services, and then you have bus, and then you have the train, and then others, they have bikes. All those services, you spend money. So if you're budgeting $50 for transportation, that's another $1,500 alone in a month's time, just for your transportation. So $2,250 at $1,500, automatically you're right on $3,750. Are you seeing where I'm going with these guys? So now remember, you were given $4,000. Out of the $4,000, so you have a place to live, you have food, and then you have transportation, and you're already arriving to $3,750. So out of the $4,000, if you are really a conservative person and you try to budget, remember, you haven't even gone out to see your friends. So you have $250 left out of the $4,000. Now you get a buddy of yours, or you have families in your home place in Africa, somewhere, and they say, please help us out. You give them $50, okay? And then they think you're a king. In reality, in that whole month of time, you only are left with $200 conservatively, which means God helps you if you have another emergency, you're going to be in red. So now, if you're living like that and you do your best to save, let's say that you're saving $100 every month, okay? So out of the double, working 16 hours a day, you are able to literally save only $100, $200 a month maximum at minimum wage. Remember, you had sleepless nights. You're working like a donkey. You're working like a horse. And then you're impressing your own people by giving them $50 every month. And then you are left with $200. And you're trying to save that. So you do that for 1 year. And in 1 year's time, you have about $2,400 in your bank account. So now, with that $2,400, you really don't have a lot of options in terms of investment. You can invest that money, or you can do a few things. If you're investing at a home, it may actually be a little more fruitful because you can use a little bit more than here. So why am I taking the time to go and ask you whether you have a tree growing money in your backyard? Some of us, as soon as you get those jobs, you start living a flashy life. Or your lifestyle is super flashy. You get on social media and you take some pictures and you're just living large. And you start living even beyond your means. Instead of saving, you start living in red. What does that mean, living in red? It's like you go to work. However, by the time your paychecks arrive, you're already in negative because you basically had spent more than what you have brought in. So while you're making that $4,000 and you're spending $5,000 a month, you're already short $1,000 every month. There you go, stress. There you go, sickness. Remember, you're already working 16 hours and it's not enough. You do not know how to manage yourself. And then your uncle something is asking you money. Your parents might be asking you money. Your brothers and sisters might be asking you money. A whole lot of other people, because they think that you have arrived in America and you have a tree in your backyard that grows money, and you get to let them also think that. You do not correct that right then and there. Now you are a donkey, you are a horse here in this in this foreign land, but you also have become a horse and a donkey to your own people because of the way you're portraying yourself. So you do not want to tell them that you're living a stressful life, because you want to you want to project yourself like you are a king, which you truly are. But being a king in this land versus in your own homeland, two different things, guys. Real talk. So if you keep on impressing people in a way that is not you, they're gonna get used to that $50, $100. Now, not only you're living in red here, but you're also adding extra charges that you shouldn't really be adding on, because there's a certain facade that you are projecting to have or to be, and that's what they are getting used to. So now tell me, guys, if you found yourself living like that and you have not corrected, everyone from your own family members, they think you're a millionaire and you show yourself like a millionaire, but in reality you are broke. You don't have any money. You are in debt. How are you going to reconcile? When will you actually be truthful enough and have the courage to tell them, hey, listen, life is rough here, y'all. I work like a donkey, I work like a horse, 16, 17, 18 hours a day, and I bring home a negative paycheck. It's like you owe them more and you've been to work. Oftentimes you are too embarrassed to share what life feels like here. And then, of course, you want to live like the families they call the Jones. So the Jones are these families who live on credit cards. And I know that you guys have, you guys have been introduced to credit cards. Gone are the days where you actually pay cash. So now imagine you're living on plastic, aka credit card. Not only you are a slave to your job, but now you're going to become another horse to a credit card company. They will give you money, but they will want that money plus interest. So you may get a credit of, let's say, $2,000. And then they're like, don't worry, we just want you to pay about $50 a month. It's no big deal, okay? So you get that credit card, you swipe it, you spend the whole $2,000. Every month, they ask you only for $50. When will you be able to pay that $2,000, guys? It'll take you a lifetime because they just want the minimum possible amount so they can keep on milking you. Remember, they have already pre-calculated. Oftentimes, your rate, it's about anywhere between 14 to 22%, even 30%. And this is daily average, guys, which means those credit card company are milking you. They might get 100% or more in a year's time on that credit card that you're paying $50 a month. They're making so much money off of you. So you became a slave to different systems. And then if you really have a weak mind, the fatigue itself is going to work you on, is going to work you. You're going to crack at some point. Remember, you work in 16 hours every day. We're not talking about the time you go home, the time you come to work. An average commute time here in Washington, D.C., if you live anywhere within the proximity of Washington, D.C., but let's say about 4 miles minimum, your commute time is about 30 minutes, 45 minutes. Now, if you live further, it's at least guarantee 1 hour to 1 hour and a half because the congestion is just ridiculous, especially during those times that you have to be at work. So, again, for the sake of just showing you guys, you're spending between 2 to 3 hours on the road every single day, going to and from your job. You're spending 16 hours working. That's at least 19 hours. And then they mandate that you take 1 hour and 30 minutes break. Sometimes 1 hour, maximum 1 hour and a half. So which means you're working, for the sake of an argument again, let's say 1 hour break, okay? Meaning 30 minutes lunch and 2 breaks. Actually now they will actually insist that you have to take 3 breaks. Remember, you're working overtime. So because of that, you are mandated to, at the very minimum, take an hour and a half. Minimum, 1 hour and a half. If you're doing standard, 2 hours. 2 hours, okay? If you're working for 16 hours a day. So now let's do the math. 2 hours break, 16 hours of work, 3 hours of commute time. How many hours is that already? 21 hours. Okay? All of us, we have equal days, equal hours, 24 hours maximum in a day's time. So now you're working 21 hours. Every single day you are away from your place for 21 hours. By the time you arrive at home, you can barely see because you are too tired. How long can you sleep for 3 hours every day in a month's time and be normal in your head? True story. I have some friends of mine and people that I know who have actually living on 4 hours, 3 to 4 hours. These friends of mine, some of whom, they age so fast. No joke, guys. You're going after the money because your body doesn't have enough time to rest. You become tired. Mentally, emotionally, and physically. If you are lucky, you are going to collapse when you are at work and an ambulance is going to come and take you and try to take you to the hospital for a few days. The ambulance in Washington, D.C., it's $900. Guys, I mean, there are some things that at times when I'm thinking about it, it's like you live a magical life, the kind of life that people will not believe, okay? God forbid you get sick and an ambulance has to pick you up. Just the ride, guys. Only the ride. $900. That's what you owe them. So now remember, you already maxed out. You've been trying to live right. You were trying to save $200 and then you just happen to get sick once. Now you are completely wiped. You are negative $700 in that time. We haven't even talked about the bill at the hospital. So now imagine you're living like that. You're living like that. You are stressed. Your whole life is like chaotic. Can you actually even face your brothers, your sisters, your family members back now in Africa? Can you even entertain someone asking you $5? Just easy $5, guy. Now because you are so stressed, someone mentions money and you go like, what? You become like a dog. It's like you're screaming because you are hiding from them. They walk like a horse every single day. Over here, they call that hustling. It's like you work so much, just try to make ends meet. You're not trying to go anywhere. You just try to make ends meet. Remember, you're not even trying to be fancy. So how will you be able to live in a city like Washington, D.C., in a city like New York, in a city like L.A., in a city like Miami, on minimum wage? It's impossible, guys. When you're trying to live like that, you live a terrible life. It's like you're gonna have 3 roommates in a studio room. And when you are unlucky, you don't even click. You don't share you do not share the same vibes. Welcome to the American life, guys. Some of you family members are living the life I'm just describing right now. But they pretend. They make sure they look flashy, they look good. They do not tell you that they have to be a horse 16 hours a day. Now imagine those who have 3 jobs. How do you work 3 jobs, guys, in 24 hours? How do you do it? So, I want to tell you guys, especially our brothers and sisters in Africa, if you and I aren't friends, if we do not talk on a regular basis, and you get to know the kind of a life that I live, how dare do you ask me, just help me out, brother. I only want $100. I only want $100. I just want an iPhone, okay? Just send me an iPhone, a little bit of money to get an iPhone. Oh, I saw the latest shoe. Can you send me that one? I really want to tell you guys, life in these countries are very expensive. Very, very expensive. We had to learn how to do that. When I was in college and I had to fend for myself, In college, there is a popular food called udus menudos. Okay, I don't even know what udus menudos noodles. That's the food. If you had gone to college and you actually fed for yourself, udus menudos from Monday through Sunday, y'all. True story. Okay. Why? Because you cannot afford that $50 budget. With udus menudos, you get what? I think you get a box of like 24 udus menudos for I think it's like what, $10, $14, things like that. Man, you become a master in budgeting. So you eat that Monday through Sunday. When you're lucky, maybe you treat yourself with like some fast food, or maybe once a week you go to a decent restaurant and you spend $20 and you close your eyes and you just give him that $20. And if you're a decent guy, you throw in $5 and then you tip him. And then you go home crying because you just outshined yourself. Now, this is not comedy, guys. And this is not a movie. This is true story, true life to a whole lot of people. So why would you want to pretend that you're living a stressful life? You got no money, you cannot save, and then everybody wants money from you. Everybody wants something from you because you are in America, you are in Europe, you are in Asia, you are in Australia. And they're looking how flashy you are, they're looking how good you're looking. They're like, man, I just want to be like this guy. But you do not mention one word of what it is that you do, how long it takes you, and whether you can actually sleep. You can make $4,000 or $5,000 sweeping the streets in Washington, D.C. And then probably go work at any one of these fast food restaurants or any one of these, these jobs that do not require you to go to school. You combine 2-3 of those jobs, you can probably barely make it. If you're smart, you try to live outside of Washington, D.C. The trade-off is time. Again, the further you go away from Washington, D.C., that means the longer you have to travel. So you got to choose between spending 3 to 4 hours a day on the streets going to and from work. Or you can pay extra $200 to $300 a month and live nearby so you do not have to travel too much. Guys, life is real here. Stress is real. Why am I bothering saying that? Remember, I started off saying, are you a hand that gives or a hand that takes? We are in a season where we are fighting for our inheritance. We're talking about back home, not even here. What kind of mindset do you have for you to have a sober mind so you can actually help your brothers and sisters at home to regain their inheritance? Can you function when you have just pulled in double? When you are on 3 hours sleep daily, can you actually function like a human, like a regular human being? I submit to you, hell no. When you are that tired, the last thing you need is someone to ask you to use your head to think. Because you are completely wiped. You do not have energy, strength in you to do anything else. Now, there are some geniuses who actually take it further and they start going to use some of these energy drinks. Remember, your body is designed to shut off itself when it's tired. That's why you feel sleepy. When you're tired, your body tells you that I'm tired. Even when you try to push it further, it lets you push it until it says, you know what, enough is enough. It seems like you don't even understand when I say I'm tired, so you crash. I have seen a lot of brothers and sisters who have actually collapsed at work. Heart attack at work. Unfortunately, I know a few who have died. True story. I'm not exaggerating. Imagine you're working 16 hours. You only sleep 3 hours a day, 2 hours a day. and you're trying to do that 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. You already did by that time. If you are a decent young man, a young lady who have strength, how long will you work for 20 hours, 21 hours every single day for a couple months, couple of years? How long will you actually keep that health life? Not long. Your body becomes sick. You start getting, you get sick because not only you're tired, but now your body no longer produces enough enzyme, you are not fully, you are not 100% yourself at that point. So not only you're losing your life, you're losing a lifestyle, but you are also pretending to be something you are not. How can you fight for your freedom? How can you fight for your inheritance? How can you fight against colonizers when you are too busy trying to live a very expensive lives in these foreign lands? How can you fight? And then how can you even help your own people when that's your ordeal every single day for 7 days? We haven't even talked about rest. You don't get a day off. You work 7 days straight, 7 days straight. You only get off when you collapse or when you fall asleep all the way. Now, God helps you if you have to drive to work. Can you imagine you driving after you only have had 3 hours? You are like a dangerous driver on the road, not only to yourself, but also to everybody else. I would not want to be near you knowingly that you only have 3 hours sleep and you do this every single day. You find yourself sleeping on the wheel. I won't lie, it has happened to me once. And after that, I learned my lesson. Literally, I sleep on job, guys. There was this job that I used to work back. And I literally fell asleep. I fell asleep working. And when I say I fell asleep, I completely checked out. Where even like the supervisor didn't know what to do with me. I just slept. And the job that I was doing was a very demanding job that requires you to operate very sensitive machines and in a very high-paced environment. Me falling asleep, it completely disrupted the entire schedule for like 10, 15, 20 companies. It completely wiped out everybody else's schedule, all the customers that they had, because I sleep on job. And when I slept, I felt so good. I did not care. I was out on job. Do you know what happened next? So as soon as they managed to wake me up, they literally asked for my badge and they escorted me out and they said, go home and go to sleep. And that was the last time I worked there. I was lucky they didn't take me to court, because me sleeping on job, it cost them something like probably anywhere between $1 million to $10 million. Minding you, I don't get paid that kind of money. I'm on a minimum wage. But me being tardy, sleeping on a job, it cost the company about $10 million. How does that happen, guys? Start thinking like that. For the first time, I felt good. I did not care. Even when they said, just go home, I didn't care. I was like, oh God, that felt so good. Because I have been working like a horse for quite some time, until my body was like, not today. It's not going to happen anymore. And as soon as that happened to me, I was like, never again. I started learning how to take care of myself. But I just didn't learn I had to have some really bad consequences. I got fired from work, falling asleep, okay, because I didn't have enough sleep. I was trying to squeeze 24 hours with so many things. 24 hours doesn't change. And me, I was trying to put in as many hours as possible. I was trying to have like 30 hours in 24 hours, and it's not possible. And then go behind the wheel and drive. You're a dangerous person on the road. I had an accident, falling behind the wheels. That accident, it made me change my whole life perspective. Because I was like, I cannot live like this anymore. Literally. So what am I saying to you guys? How do you become a hand that gives instead of a hand that takes when all odds are against you? That's what I want to end it with. Examine your lives, guys. Prioritize your lives. When we first began this year on our Kinyarwanda broadcast, I had asked the people to actually plan their own lives. What is it that you want out of life? Where do you want to go? Where are you headed? And that's what I'm going to leave with you guys. Where are you headed? What do you have as a priority in your life today? Never mind money. Never mind all these things. The bling blings. Bling blings will find you if you know where you're headed. You don't have to work like a horse to make it in life. I kid you not. And I really would love that you get to take some time and figure out you. There are no tree growing money in my backyard. Not even at work. We don't have any tree growing money. Or any money growing tree. I guess that's the correct way to say it. If any of you have a tree that grows money, please, can I have a few seeds? Because I could use some extra. No joke. So stop pretending to your family, to your friends, that you got money like that. Stop pretending and start living within the means so you can have a far more rewarding life. So you can plan out other things that will not kill you. It's very important, guys. Do not pretend to be something you are not, because the consequences are far more lethal than you saying, hey, listen, I don't get it like that. And then learn how to work together. Learn how to work in your own system, the system that will work for you instead of you working for the system. I know there is always a method to the madness, like I said, and there is also a very good way of actually put that in action so that we're not just talking. If you can be able to say, hey, you know what, I can do this, and so can you. I can do that, and so can you. Be a mentor to someone. Show somebody how you made it in life so they don't have to make some of the same mistakes you've made. Be willing to share with others your ups and downs. Share them openly. There's no shame in that. In your lives, in our lives, we have both ups and downs. That's just the way it's the way it is. The same way you have rain and sun. The same way you have day and night. These are the things we live with every single day. There's so much to say, guys, but time is an enemy, number one enemy in everything that we do. So with that in mind, guys, let me end it here. I'm so grateful that we were able to share with you. As always, please leave us a comment. Leave us some feedbacks to what we have shared with you. There's so much I wanted to say, but we just ran out of time. And today I have to be very respectful. So send us an email, info@afridominion.com, and visit our website, guys, afridominion.com, and come and hang out with us off the air, offline. We may be able to share a little bit more with you, but also tell you where we headed. How can you be a part of that? So us together, collectively, we can be more helpful, not only to us, to our family, to our community, even our nations, all right? So with that in mind, guys, I'm Freeman Singirankabo. right here at Afri Dominion. Until we see you next Wednesday on the same theme, we are super grateful. We'll see you tomorrow, and you have yourself a super fantastic day. Until next time, so long for now.